Hi, I'm Matt Call, Planning Operations with Great Basin Team 1. We're here on the Mount Hood Forest, and today is your September 3rd update on the Camp Creek fire. Today it's about 1,900 acres, so it's grown a little bit, and we're going to show you on the map what's going on and what we're doing to get this thing contained for you. So this is our fire map. I think yesterday we showed you the electric map, which our guys in the field use. We still use paper maps, but we really like our gadgets and our gizmos because they offer us a little bit more variability. So this is the fire map, the fire area. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, kind of for those of you that don't really know context. This is the 26th road. So for Brightwood, it's Brightwood's right here, Wildwood, and each one of these squares might be hard to see, but that's about a mile each 3 fingers. So we're 4 or 5 miles from the 26th road, and then this is our perimeter of the fire. This is the Bull Run watershed, and then the green is all National Forest boundary. And then the blue is all of our water for our watershed. So that kind of gives you the context, and then we're going to zoom in on our perimeter of our fire, which again is about just under 2,000 acres. So around outside, we've got a lot of structure protection planning going on outside, and a lot of contingency planning, meaning a lot of roads way out, miles out. We're doing preparation work, removing fuels, so we can use those as contingency fire lines if we need. We're also coordinating with the structure departments and fire districts and law enforcement in case the fire gets outside of where we want it. Then we can enact some evacuation plans if we get to that point. We're a ways out from that, so we just want to have plans in place in case we get to that point we can engage. So we have people planning for that in case we get there, so we're ready to strike. Most of our forces, though, are actually up close to the fire, trying to keep that as the smallest, what we call footprint, as possible. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what's going on there, and then we'll show you kind of a really cool 3D map. So the red edge is the uncontrolled fire perimeter, and the black right here is what we call controlled, meaning we're pretty confident it's not going to escape that perimeter. So our percentage of containment versus uncontainment is 11% versus the rest. Again, math for me. So we're hoping eventually all this edge will be black. We just don't know exactly where that edge is going to be. One of the things we try to do so we control the edge of that black is we put some fire lines in, and then we will control the fire by putting some fire down in these what we call pockets. So if we have a fire line or a control line here made out of road or dozer line or hand line, we have this open space here where we have green fuels, and if the fire gets up in the trees and can move quickly, it can cross our lines pretty easily. So we try to burn this at our pace with weather that works for us. So we've had a couple of days of dry weather. It's going to be a little more humid today, but it's not supposed to get a lot of rain. And with that, we're hoping we'll get the right conditions where we can get some fire to burn continuously and remove the fuels that we want without it getting too aggressive. So for the next few days, I think we'll have a pretty good window where we can do that and have a few more of these edges cleaned up and gain a little bit more containment. What we're seeing with the fire, though, is not a lot of activity. Fire's got some moderate ground fuel, probably 2 to 3 foot flame lengths at the max, and it's pretty benign in this underbrush. But we do want a continuous burn so that the fire doesn't get messy. I can't flip it like that. And what that means is it will create a lot of little spot fires, and then we have to go put out each one. We want a good continuous burn so that there's no fuels left over to create a problem. I'm going to show you the aerial, the really cool imagery here. So this is our infrared image from last night, and yesterday we didn't have these things. So these are interference from clouds, and sometimes we get that. What that does is prevents us from getting really accurate data here. The red dots indicate where we have heat, and then it's kind of color-coded. So the yellow is basically where it's a little bit cooler, and then the insides is where we don't have quite as much heat. So this is a little bit less accurate map than we had the day before because of the cloud cover, but that's what we've got, so we're going to use it. So I'm going to zoom out so we kind of can see where we're at. This is the reservoirs and the water, and then we'll zoom in and show you what those fuels look like. You can see the roadways here provide a pretty obvious fuel break, and looking at the density of fuel, it's kind of obvious that's going to be the easiest point to work from. And in the places where we've had to go direct or right up against the fire line, like we have here, we have some dozer line and some machine line where we had to take some trees out and build some hand line. Lots of fuels there, a lot of work, and it takes quite a bit of time to do that. Once they put those in, they put hose lines in so that they can mop that up. So all of this has hose lines in it, and then all of this roadway down here has hose lines in it. So after it's done burning up to the road, we can cool it off pretty easily. You can also see there's kind of a patchwork of green in there. What that is, that's just difference in the fuels and difference in the timber stands from old logging sales from decades ago, and that creates different fuel loads, so they'll burn differently. But this allows us to use those to our advantage depending on how that fuel is going to burn. I'm going to kind of spin around here. We can sort of see the terrain that our firefighters are dealing with. So the fire is going to burn differently in the terrain, and we know fire likes to burn uphill more quickly. So you can imagine in this drainage, fire kind of ran up here quickly and then sort of slowed down when it got to the top of the ridge. So we try to place our fire lines not only where we have a good fuel break, but where the terrain's not going to work against us. So that's one of the reasons why we're using this road here, and then we're trying to take advantage of this one. These are some of the road systems that we're opening up, just creating a little bit more of a fuel break on these. So when we do put fire down in here, it just backs into here gently. One of the questions we get is, this is kind of a big blob, and is it just a big moonscape in there? But no, it's not. It's not just all black in there. There's still quite a few trees. A lot of the ground fuel is gone, but it's not just one big moonscape. So I think it's important to remember that there's still quite a few trees in there, and even though we are going to put some fire on the ground, where we are burning is usually just a controlled ground fire, and a lot of the larger, older trees will hopefully still survive that. So that's one of the other reasons why we like to be in control of what's going on with the fire. So hopefully that was helpful for you today. We'll get back to you tomorrow with a little bit more. Thanks for joining us.